I'm Andrew Dranes, and welcome to the August 2020 market wrap-up here at one of my new listings in Kellyville, just about to launch to market. Australian home values moved through a fourth month of COVID-induced falls, with the CoreLogic Home Value Index recording a 0.5% fall over August in Sydney. The rate of decline, however, has eased over the past 2 months. The performance of housing markets have been intrinsically linked with the extent of social distancing policies and border closures, which also have a direct effect on the labour market conditions and sentiment. Therefore, it is not surprising to see Melbourne as the weakest housing market, considering the restrictions in place due to the virus outbreak down there. Looking forward, we're likely to see a diverse outcome for housing markets around Australia, depending on how well the virus is contained and the region's exposure to other factors, such as its resilience on overseas migration as a source of housing demand. Sydney saw a trend of lower quartile homes falling just 0.1% in value over the month, while upper quartile values fell by 0.6%. Through the COVID period to date, Sydney's upper quartile is down 3.3%, while the decline across lower quartiles has been between 2% and 0.7%. Higher participation rates from first-home buyers, induced by various government incentives, could be supporting the lower-end home values. Also worthy to note, home sales and advertised stock levels have continued to follow consumer sentiment. For example, a new round of social distancing restrictions in Victoria and concerns about renewed spread of the virus have weighed heavily on purchasing decisions. The trend in listing and housing turnover has also followed a similar path. The number of new property listings halved between mid-March and the first week of May, before rebounding 48% over the next 3 months. The recent trend has again seen new listing numbers decline, falling by 11.5% over the last 4 weeks. Home sales also fell sharply in April, down by a third between the end of March and the end of April. The estimated volume of home sales bounced back by 49% by the end of June, but that has since trended slightly lower as weaker sentiment and lower listing numbers again weigh on market activity. The low level of total advertised inventory is another factor to insulate home values. Through the COVID pandemic to date, active listing numbers have remained extremely low, demonstrating both a lower than average amount of fresh stock being added to the market and a strong rate of absorption. So far, there has been no evidence of urgent distressed listings starting to pile up. This could, however, potentially change as fiscal support starts to taper at the end of September and distressed borrowers taking a repayment holiday reach their 6-month check-in period around the same time. The timing of these two events could be the catalyst for a gradual rise in distressed listings, which will be an important trend to monitor. If we do see active listing numbers rising higher than in previous years, it could signal that vendors will need to offer up greater discounts in order to sell their home. In summary, housing markets are showing greater diversity relative to earlier in the pandemic. Although the early phase of COVID-19 saw housing markets react with uncertainty as the virus curve was brought under control, the lifting of restrictive policies and reopening of borders have seen conditions bounce back to resemble almost normal levels of activity. However, the spring selling season is likely to be less active than normal this year. Spring is a period where the housing market typically becomes more active from both a sales and listing perspective. Heading into spring, the trend in advertised listing numbers and home sales is trending in the opposite direction. New and total listing numbers are reducing and sales activity slipped by an estimated 1.9% in August. The federal budget to be announced on October 6th should help provide further guidance on the direction of housing markets. Additional policy measures aimed at stimulating housing activity could help to support Australia's economic activity. We continue to tick over house listings and sales at Harcourt Sills Living with a relatively strong August, which ended with a bang with me turning 50 on the 31st. That's all I'll say about that, and until next time, feel free to contact me with any of your real estate related questions.